Hello, my name is Curtis Vaughn. Welcome back. Welcome back. If you're looking to find out, can title companies kill my deal? Title companies, the hidden deal killer. If you finally go find out information about that, you are in the right place. A lot of people don't know that, man. I wasn't told this. I wasn't aware of how much impact a title company can have on your deal. They can actually kill your deal by getting involved with the wrong title company. So I'm here to help you avoid some of those mistakes, guys. You're welcome. You're welcome. But anyway, but yeah, they are. There's some great title companies. I will say this: probably 80% of the time, 80% of the title companies out there are great and fantastic. They'll get the job done. They'll do the research. They'll push your deal through. They'll follow up with the customers and all that jazz, or just follow up with the seller rather in your deals as an investor. And most of them are fantastic. I would say 80% are probably great. But there's that hidden 20% that will wreck you, man. It'll wreck your stuff, dude. So I'm here to help you avoid some of those issues, if at all possible. So please stick around to the end. The algorithms tells me that most of you guys are not watching till the end. So hey, don't click away. Whatever you do, keep watching. I might save you some money, dude. I'm here to save you some money, provide value. But anyway, but yeah, like I said, most of them are fantastic, and you won't ever have an issue. But there's that 20% minority that can mess you up in a hurry. But so how do you find one? How do you find a great title company? And this is something I have a process, that I had to implement because I kept having issues, and you just learn things along the way. But I would say the number one source of finding a title company is probably Google. Here's why: you're getting unfiltered reviews. You know, the people that the reviews you're seeing have no particular vested interest in blowing smoke at you. But in any case, Google reviews are a fantastic source. Maybe not necessarily the best source, but they are a good source to get you started in your research. Because I say research, 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 research title companies, 100%. Because it's your money on the line. If you're a wholesaler, it's your commission. If you're an investor, it could be a fantastic deal that hinges on this company performing their job correctly. And they are right in the middle of the transaction. So once you've done all the hard work, all the legwork of finding a great deal, however you found it, whether it's on the MLS or you found it cold calling, postcards, whatever you did on the front end, all that can get flushed down the drain by the wrong title company. But anyway, Google reviews, great place to start. And I will say this, and I learned this the hard way: actually read the reviews, guys. I know it seems ridiculous, but I was like, oh yeah, he's got 4 stars. Oh, they got 4.5 stars. They got 5 stars. No, read them. It is not good enough to just know they got 5 stars. Read the reviews, because what happens is a lot of times, I think it's not just title companies, but I think a lot of times most companies might have family or friends fudging the numbers, leaving fantastic reviews, so you can end up getting lopsided reviews. So you actually want to read those things. Look at the dates those reviews happen. Hey, maybe even go the extra mile and actually reach out to people who left the reviews, especially if they're negative, and look for patterns. Look for patterns of things that might have happened. Like, I don't know, deal fell through because of this issue, deal fell through because of that issue. Pay attention to the patterns of what's going on with these title companies, because I can't stress it enough. Your deal is on the line if you get a bad one, and it could bite you. But anyway, get referrals from other investors. Other investors are your friends. Go to a local title company if you're doing a deal locally. Go to investor meetups. Ask guys, hey, who you using? What kind of track record do they have? Are they a good title company? Have you enjoyed your experience with them? Fantastic. Nothing beats that kind of connection in trying to find one. Look online. Here's another place: Bigger Pockets. Like I used when I was working as a wholesaler, I would do deals across the nation. So a lot of times I was in locations I wasn't local. I didn't know anybody in those particular areas. So yeah, looking online with like Bigger Pockets is a fantastic way to find a local company. At least a good starting point is another good way to do that. And let's see here. Now, here's a biggie. Once you've actually located and identified one, call them and ask them, are you investor friendly? Ask that question. Because a lot of times, not every title company is the same. They don't all operate the same way. They don't all have the same knowledge base, and they don't all work with investors. You know, because investors have a few different exit strategies or ways to facilitate a transaction, if you will. Some investors are doing wholesaling. Some might do a novation deal where you're just put the deal on a contract and selling that deal on behalf of the seller. They might be doing something creative, like creative finance, where the seller is actually becoming the bank and helping to make that transaction and charging the investor a certain percentage rate. I mean, there's all kinds of ways investors work, and not every single title company is cool with that or knows what that is. So you want to make sure you know upfront what they will and will not do. So if you have a particular exit strategy in mind, make sure you run it by the title company before you get it, get down the line. You don't want to find this out 2 weeks in 2 weeks out before closing, or God forbid the day before closing, or something crazy like that. So yeah, this is absolutely huge. So just ask the question up front: are you investor friendly? Because they aren't all investor friendly, and even if they are all investor friendly, or they are investor friendly, not all of them know about every single type of transaction that an investor might want to do. So anyway, I'll move on from that. Let's see here. Now, ways title companies can mess you up. Ask me how I know these things from experience. They can mess you up in a lot of different ways. This is not an exhaustive list. I will start with the number one: corruption. I will come back to that. I will support that with actual bedtime story for you. Because man, this is a crazy one. I'll come back to that. Corruption is one way that title company can mess you up. I'm going to say alleged corruption. I'm not going to say the title company's name. I don't want to get into legal issues, but I will say there's some issues going on there. Anyway, neglect. I literally had a title company forget I exist. That's a thing that happened to me. A title company I was working with, I think I want to say Ohio. I'm not going to say any names of companies, but the guy I was working with, I had done a prior transaction with him, but for whatever reason, I got lost in the paperwork, lost in the shuffle, and he completely blanked that I even existed. And I had sent him the contract and everything. He completely forgot about me. so, so yeah, you got to be on top of these things. Make sure you're following up with the title company. They're human at the end of the day. They're not perfect. Nobody knows everything. Mistakes happen, but you do want to make sure you're following up with them. Incompetence. There are actually incompetent title companies out there. I will say this though. Maybe incompetence is too harsh of a word, but there are some title companies who are more particular about things they find on title issues than others. Because here's what's happening: like they're all human beings. They all have their own particular biases. I say it's incompetence, or I'm a little jaded, I guess. Maybe that's not the right word. I would say some title companies are more picky than others. There could be two separate title companies that read the same title search and walk away with two separate opinions. Because what they're really doing at the end of the day is they're insuring that title for you, the investor. They're saying, hey, sir, madam, we've looked at the title history going back however many years, and we're going to put our stamp of approval on this title and say it's a good title. You're good to go. You're good to close. So they're putting their name on it, like an insurance policy, basically. So if something happens down the road and somebody has a claim, you can sue the title company basically if they don't catch something. So there are title companies that are more or less risk averse than others. I will say that. But sometimes they can be so risk averse as is unreasonable, and that can hold your deal up. So that again goes back to doing your own due diligence and research. Where you work with a title company or looking for a title company to work with on your particular deal, you gotta read those reviews, man. Even if you find a title company through a family friend or whatever, the seller used them before, do the due diligence. Read reviews on these people. Get a second opinion. Find somebody local if you can. and just see what they've had, what kind of response they've had from them. Anyway, moving on. Next way they can mess you up: unresponsiveness. Unresponsiveness. I was working with a title company that just literally, I guess they were just doing bang up business. They had fantastic reviews, but they were just so busy that they just didn't have time for me. That's no other way to say it, but they just did not have time for my deal. They were hard to get a hold of. They would not answer the phone. I don't think they had a secretary, which is unusual for a title company. That should have been a red flag for me. Moving forward, I probably would never do that. Deal with a title company that doesn't have a secretary. At least they could pick up the phone. But yeah, they were just entirely too busy. Nobody was ever responding to my emails, calls. Unresponsiveness, something you got to watch out for. And if you, it's okay to miss that initially because maybe they pick up the phone, happen to pick up the phone, you call initially. But if you're getting the sense that they're not going to be consistent or responsive, you're better off replacing them sooner rather than later. The second you get that whiff of that unresponsiveness, yeah, you might want to find another title company because that can mess you up. Because sellers get antsy, man. Sellers can get antsy because you got to think about it from a seller's perspective. They don't know you. You maybe, I don't know how you found them, but they don't know you very well. And the second they feel like this might be a scam, because they don't do this transaction very often, for you, you might be doing 10, 12 transactions a year or more. But for them, this happens like once every decade or so or more. So for them, it's a big deal, and you want to make sure that they're comfortable. You want to make sure they are in the loop at every stage of the transaction. And so, yeah, make sure you eliminate that as a possibility. You don't want anything remotely close to your deal that's going to throw a wrench in it. But yeah, I'll tell this horror story. Get your blankets, your s'mores, bundle up, because this is a horror story. But anyway, I was doing a deal up in Detroit last year, and yeah, I was wholesaling the property, and the title company, they found a memo, a notice of interest on the property from a failed transaction that had occurred about 6 months prior. Because the seller, basically, the seller had tried to do a deal with an investor 6 months before I came along. It fell through for one reason or another. That person, the investor, had actually filed a notice of interest on the property. Not uncommon for investors to do. A memo or notice of interest, a memorandum of interest or whatever, is just a document that says, hey, it tells the public that, hey, we're involved in this transaction, so back off. So if a title company sees something like that, as let's say 6 months or a year, 2 years, let's say the deal falls through, and the title company's doing their search on the property, they're going to see a clouded title. It clouds the title. It stops the transaction from going forward because it says to the public, hey, me and the seller are trying to work something out. So most people don't even remove those, once they occur. So 6 months to a year from now, the seller can try to sell a property, or 5 years from now, they'll try to sell a property, and booyah, a notice of interest is on the property, meaning they can't close a transaction with somebody else, because most title companies will respect that and not allow them to move forward, at least not with them, because that raises red flags for the title company. And like I said, they're trying to insure the title. So that is a issue that can cloud the title and keep the transaction from going forward. So in any case, that's what happened in my deal. But that's not unusual. It's not unusual for an investor to file a notice of interest. That kind of thing happens. It's common. It sucks when you're on the receiving end of that. You're trying to get your deal done, but whatever. Anyway, so they wanted $10K to go away, which, whatever, fine. They wanted $10,000. The seller was definitely not happy about that. Didn't really have the money. Didn't want to spend $10K trying to make these guys go away. So anyway, some back and forth negotiations over a few days, and I think they landed somewhere around $5,000, if memory serves correctly. But I think they agreed to $5,000 in writing that they would go away at closing, If at closing they were paid $5,000 on my transaction. Um, so that's pretty much what happened. So we get to closing. The title company receives the money from the lender because, like I said, I was wholesaling this transaction. So I found a end buyer who's going to take over the property and flip it or whatever. His lenders wires the money to the title company, which is normal. That's normal stuff to do. Title company says, "Wait a minute, we don't feel comfortable dispersing these funds." What? You don't feel comfortable dispersing these funds? They didn't want to pay me my wholesale fee. They didn't want to pay the seller his money. Like, what do you mean you don't feel comfortable with this now? Everybody signed off on it. You were comfortable with it a couple of days ago. Anyway, that was a major red flag. I'd never had that happen before. So the deal was essentially stalled indefinitely. And their reasoning behind it was the memo that we had settled in writing. Like, wait a minute, this memo has been settled. What are you talking about? We have it in writing that for $5,000 at closing, they would go away. That's the end of these. There's nothing else to talk about. Everybody agreed to it in writing. They agreed to it in writing. The seller agreed to it in writing. Everybody agreed to it in writing. Why are you holding up the funds now? Well, during one of the conversations with one of the people that worked at that title company that was holding up the money for being dispersed, they happened to mention, oh yeah, the person who filed the memo for the other company that had the failed transaction 6 months prior, that person used to work at this exact title company. Wait a minute, whoa, wait, what? Hold on a second. You mean to tell me the person who's filed the memo for that whole other investor worked at this exact company, and now she's demanding more money. And here's what I left out is that this whole time we're negotiating back and forth. We're not negotiating with the investor. No, 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 no. We're negotiating back and forth with that party who filed the memo. So that party who filed the memo is acting like as an intermediary between us and that other investor this entire time. And you mean to tell me this person who's acting as an intermediary also used to be an employee at this exact company? So you all know each other. She knows you, you know them, and you guys all know each other. So it starts sounding like, okay, wait a minute, hold on. It's starting to sound like a scam. Like, whoa. I know it's Detroit, guys, but that sounds illegal to me. Again, I'm not going to say the title company's name because I don't need to get involved with that. But, but yeah, yeah. Well, I put two and two together. I was like, wait a minute, hold on a second. First of all, when somebody files a memo on your behalf, it's like filing paperwork. Like you're not my lawyer. You don't represent me on any level. You're not my lawyer. You shouldn't be negotiating contracts or anything like that for me. Why are we even negotiating with her in the first place? So how is she still involved in this deal at all on any level? All she should be doing is filing that document with the courthouse or whoever that the county deems has to hold those records or whatever. She should file that paperwork and skedaddle. You're not part of the deal. You're not a lawyer. You're not a real estate agent. You have nothing to do with the deal at this point. You're just filing paperwork. You got your fee and that's it. Go away. She was in the midst of negotiating back and forth with us to get more money. Like, whoa, 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 guys. It's starting to seem like a scam. So anyway, I confronted the owner of the company, the title company. I said, hey, look, um, I'm expecting to get paid tomorrow. You guys are going to release these funds tomorrow, or I'm calling the police. And I'm going to threaten collusion, extortion, or whatever I got to do to threaten you guys. But that's going to happen if I don't get paid tomorrow. Sure enough, I got paid the next day. They went away. Amazing. It was a miracle. But anyway, I say all this to say, be careful. When you're out there doing deals, I can't stress this enough. I don't care who you are. Do your due diligence because title companies can absolutely wreck your deals if you allow them to. So hope that scary story didn't scare you too much at night. I'm sorry. Sorry, I didn't mean to scare you guys. But anyway, those are my tips for today. Please do your due diligence and try not to let a title company ruin your deal. All right. Well, just to wrap this thing up, hope you guys had a great time. Do have a couple notes here. 5 mistakes keeping you from your first real estate transaction. That is a free gift for me. You can find the link in the description there. And also, Computron. Computron. I know it's a great name. That is my own software that I came up with. Not really software, but it's an Excel spreadsheet to help you analyze your deals. If you go back a few videos, you'll see an example of me walking through how that all works. And it's a great tool. It took me 2 years to develop that. A lot of hard work, a lot of refining, but it really does help. You get in the ballpark of where you should be on your deal when you're making your offers. But thank you so much for hanging out with me. Have a great day. Bye bye.